Hello, you beautiful souls. I'm Laura, host of the Awaken and Align podcast and also this side of the internet. I just want to take this moment to apologize for the month of September. I did not come out with a new moon or full moon video. I was having a 10th house and 11th house activation and life just got really busy, but in a good way. I'm so blessed. But with that, some things had to fall by the wayside, and it just so happened that it was the new and full moon video, which I really tried to get to, but it just wasn't happening. So I really wanted to come back with this new moon in Libra reading for all of you, because it's going to be a powerful new moon and week. Lots of energetic shifts, and if you want to know the astrology to October 2021, I'll link it down below. You can watch the YouTube version and also on my podcast Awaken and Align. You can find it on Spotify and Stitcher if you're an Android user, or Apple Podcasts. Now, I am listening to Harry Potter because this is my favorite month of the year. It's the witchy season. It's the season when the veil becomes very thin, and it just seems very magical. I don't know about you, but where I live up in the northeast of America, of the United States, something happens, the air gets super crisp, the leaves start changing. I love the harvest, I love the fall, and I love the season. Also, me personally, I'm a Sagittarius rising. I have a lot of activation in my 11th house, which is the house of gains and community and friendships, and it's always a time that I find to be very fun. So I hope this new moon in Libra brings you a lot of new beginnings and blessings, as it's going to be a powerful one. I don't know if it's a good or a bad, but hopefully with these messages that you can take away with you, that you can move through this energy, because ultimately energy is neutral. It's not good or bad. And astrology, it's just meant to help us move through some of our ups and downs, the ebb and the flows. And I really believe we have the power of our free will to choose our destiny and our fate. So if any of this does not resonate with you, you can take it and just leave it. You can take and claim whatever does resonate with you. I'm just here to help you move through these transits and be your guide. Now, this new moon is happening at 13 degrees of Libra at 24 minutes at 7:05 a.m. Eastern time. So just adjust for your time zone. And this is a moon that is ruled by Venus, and Venus is the planet of aesthetics, of love, of beauty, of money, of just everything that is beautiful in our lives. It's a very benefic planet. And currently, as I'm recording this, today is Monday, October 4th, Venus is still in Scorpio in its last degrees. And just so you get an idea of where the sky is at the time of this new moon, the sun and the moon come together in Libra at 13 degrees, which is a very feminine number. It's a divine feminine number. Saturn is still retrograde in Aquarius, but on October 10th, it will go direct. On the same day of this new moon, Pluto in Capricorn retrograde will go direct. So already this week, we have two big outer planets who are going forward. And so whenever one planet goes forward, we feel that shift, right? We feel that movement, that momentum. But we have two that are going forward this week. Again, on October 6th, Pluto's going forward in Capricorn, and October 10th, Saturn is going forward in Aquarius. Now, at the same time, Jupiter is still retrograde in Aquarius, and it's going to move forward on October 18th, on the same day as Mercury, which will go forward in Libra on the same day on October 18th. So, for the next 2 weeks, we still have Jupiter and Mercury in retrograde, because they will be players in the story coming forward. At the time of this new moon as well, the sun and Mars and the moon will all be together conjunct. So this is a very interesting energy that I'll get more into in a bit. But And with Mercury in retrograde in a very loose conjunction, Mercury will be around, I think, 20 degrees or 22, I believe, at the time of this new moon. So it's not exactly conjunct, but it's still there in the periphery. And all of these energies, the sun, the moon, Mercury, and Mars, are in the sign of Libra. What is Libra? Venus rules the sign of Libra. It's an air sign. It's a cardinal air sign. So cardinal signs make us take initiative, make us act, right? But this is a time when it's not necessarily a time to act on impulse, but to take into consideration all the information and all of the things you have learned during these retrogrades. And there are 6 planets currently in retrograde. So retrogrades are a time to be in the yin, to be in the receptive. Things aren't very clear because information is coming up, but once these planets all go forward, that is the time to initiate, that is the time to act. Again, you could watch my October 2021 astrology video and also on my podcast. I won't get too much into that at this time, but it will create a picture for you of what to expect in this new moon in Libra. Now, on October 7th, Venus will enter Sagittarius. So Venus will have new energy. Venus will be conjunct to the South Node in Sagittarius. So I also talk about that in that video. But there's a lot of movement is the point I'm trying to get across. There's a lot of shifting of energy. There's a lot of energy like moving forward. So this new moon in Libra, now if you're doing the work, and I put that in air quotes because the work means something differently to everybody. If you are doing the work, I 100% have confidence that these energies will allow you to go deeper, will allow you to see the truth of certain situations. And if you're watching this video, if you're interested in tarot and the moon and astrology, you are doing the work. If you're not doing the work, if you're new to spirituality and you're kind of like, astrology is weird, this is an invitation for you to maybe go more inward, to maybe go into a contemplative space, to hold space for yourself. And that's really what spirituality is at the end of the day. It's just connecting deeper to yourself and your inner world and also a higher power. So this new moon in Libra is related to the Three of Swords because I work with the tropical whole house system of astrology, and so I go by the decans, and I love how the decans also correspond to the tarot, and each decan corresponds to a tarot card, and the 13 degrees of Libra happens to be the Three of Swords. Now, whenever this comes up in a reading, people get scared because the Three of Swords is not necessarily the most positive or happy energy, but I'm going to give you a different perspective on the Three of Swords. Now, whenever I see the number 3 in numerology, I consider the number 3 to be a very expansive, very creative, very expansive and creative opportunity if you choose to take it. And the swords deals with perceptions, the mind, and the mental capacities, right? The swords is air energy. And Libra, again, is a sign of relationships. It's how we relate to the other. The opposite sign of Aries, which is I am, being independent. And so Libra season is always asking us to take a look at our relationships, the quality of our relationships. Are we showing up to our relationships, and are the people that are in our lives showing up for us? And I always recommend the book, The 5 Love Languages, to really understand how people show up and how people need to receive and give love. So Libra is all about the other, and this could mean your family, this could mean your coworkers, your boss. It doesn't just have to be romantic relationships. And if you see here, and I love this tarot deck, by the way, it's the Santa Muerte Tarot, which I got specifically for the month of October. I just love the imagery here. But, and again, this imagery is not necessarily like positive. It doesn't give you like the good feels, because it depicts two figures here, and one of them is so I have like a different interpretation of this image, but this one here has two swords in its back, and this one you can interpret it as either he's putting the two swords in or he's taking the two swords out, like he's helping, or she is helping, or they are helping. You know what I mean. Sorry if this isn't focusing. So to me, the Three of Swords is you are finding out the truth about something, possibly a past heartbreak, possibly a heartbreak you're dealing with right now, right? Because the Three of Swords always talks about heartbreak. It could talk about a breakup, a third party situation, but oftentimes we need balance, we need harmony, again Libra, through a different perception, through a different perspective, through thinking things in a different way, through heartbreak even, through cracking open. And that's what I love about the Three of Swords, if there was something to love, is that sometimes our hearts need to be broken, or if we choose to see heartbreak in that way, when we truly allow our heart spaces to crack open, is when we have space to see something different, to see things in a different way. And I, as somebody who has been through many breakups, through many different types of heartbreak, through many different types of just disappointments, looking back, I'm always grateful for those times, because it was an opening to something else. It was an opening to something better that I couldn't quite see at the time, but now I'm grateful for, because my life could have turned out in a different way. So the Three of Swords to me, and this new moon, is all about like truly sitting with our heartbreak, our heart pains, the pain, the wounds, some possibly past things, because this particular new moon has some interesting other energies going on with it, with Mercury being trine to Jupiter, Venus sextile Pluto, and Mercury square to Pluto, and this all happened in the first 3 days of October. So these energies are still lingering as we move into this new moon. So there was a lot of, like, with Mercury involved, things that you found out, things that you have been communicated to you either consciously or unconsciously through other people, that have given you more information and more opportunities for healing from the past. And now the funny thing with the truth is that you cannot unlearn the truth. It's like once you know, you can't go back to not knowing. So the Three of Swords to me is an opportunity to truly expand your heart space, to truly understand the realm of the capacity to love in a deeper and more expansive way. I mean, I'm an optimistic person. I'm ruled by Jupiter, and I just see things always the half glass full. So even with heartbreak, I always think that this is meant for me in some way. Maybe I don't understand it now, and the universe is helping me to heal in a way that I couldn't have healed if this thing didn't happen. So I hope that helped. But I'm gonna go into each of the rising signs to help you decipher where this new moon and Mars and Mercury are currently transiting in your personal house. Now, I use the tropical whole house system. Some people like Placidus, so you can just adjust to which houses that this new moon is happening at. Just look at where 13 degrees of Libra is transiting, and it'll give you a bigger picture. Also look at the planets you have at 13 degrees. Look at where you have other planets in Libra, and it'll give you more of an idea of what's happening in your life. Hello Pisces rising. So this new moon in Libra with Mars and Mercury retrograde is happening in your 8th house. The 8th house is traditionally a Scorpio house. It's the house of death, rebirth, transformation, other people's resources, sex, drugs, and alcohol. It is one of my favorite houses. I have my North Node in the 8th house, but since Saturn and Jupiter are retrograde currently in your 12th house, you might have had to release a lot of things from your past. With Jupiter and Pisces moving into your 1st house later in this year, you're definitely going to get some kind of expansive awareness into yourself. This is all about transforming and letting go of whatever does not serve you in terms of relationships. If you do not feel like people in your life are matching your energy in terms of the way that they show up, or the level of intimacy that they give you space for, that's when you know you have to reflect back on this relationship, because the 8th house is a house of intimacy. So let's see what messages we have for you for this new moon in Libra. And with Mars transiting there, it's also asking you to change. Mars is the planet of action, of raw energy. Mars in Libra, though, is supposedly in astrology to be in its detriment, because Libra, you have to take into consideration the other. So this is definitely one of the more transformative transits for a Pisces rising, because you have a lot going on in your 12th house at the moment. So and all of these energies in Libra are trining your Saturn and your Jupiter, which are trines are very harmonious aspects. So the universe is helping you purge, helping you release things from the past, even past lives. Okay, so Pisces rising, just be patient with me as I allow these cards to come out, because I allow the energy to allow the cards to come out, but sometimes it takes a little time. And you're going to feel a huge glow up once Pisces enters your 1st house at the end of this year. Okay, so just as I was thinking, we got the Death card, which is Scorpio. So you're releasing something, you're purging something, you're letting something die, you're letting something go. Again, possibly in the realm of people, situations, relationships that are just not matching your energy. Pisces in general is a very spiritual sign. So I hope that by now, during these retrograde times, right, that you've examined the people in your life, you've examined the kind of life that you want to live and the kind of energy that you want to have. And so with this card, it's really confirming what I've said about your 8th house. With the 9 of Wands, the 9 of Wands is perseverance, it's not giving up. And then we have the 3 of Swords, which I introduced at the beginning of this video as a collective energy. The 3 of Swords is it is Libra, actually. It's a card of Libra in the 2nd decan of Libra. And this is a card of heartbreak, of disappointments. So I think you're really being asked to like let go of the past heartbreak, past disappointments. Again, with the 12th house, with Saturn and Jupiter being there in retrograde, like releasing what no longer serves you, allowing the things to be purged out so that you can rebirth into the beautiful Piscean, magical person that you are. Pisces is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is going direct on October 18th. And whatever Jupiter does affects you, because you are also ruled by Jupiter, as I am. I'm a Sagittarius rising, but Pisces is more of the feminine manifestation of Jupiter. It's very expansive, it's very creative, very musical. You are also ruled by Neptune, and right now Neptune is transiting your 1st house. So you could be definitely, maybe things are a little foggy, you know, like you don't necessarily know which way to go. But the 1st house always talks about, you know, sense of self. But I think the more you can let go of the things that no longer serve you, more specifically, the Nine of Wands, Wands is fire energy. It reflects our will, our passions, and the Swords is our mental capacity. So this to me is more psychological than anything, but obviously as within so without, right? So that reflects in the people around us. But the 8th house is all psychological. It's all about our subconscious as well. So I hope this helped. The invitation here on this new moon in Libra in your 8th house is to set intentions for allowing the things that no longer serve you to just be released. And you could say a mantra like, I'm ready to move on from the past. I'm ready to heal the past. I'm ready to forgive and let go, and I'm ready to move forward. Okay, thank you, Pisces rising. Now is Aquarius rising, and this is happening in your 9th house. The moon, the sun, Mars, and Mercury are in your 9th house currently of higher learning, of studying, of teaching. This is traditionally a Sagittarian house. It's also foreign travel. I don't know if many of you Aquarius risings can do that at this time based on like where you live. But the new moon in Libra, again, Libra is the energy of the other, of our relationship. So maybe there's people in your life that can help you in teaching, in learning. Maybe you're going to be asking for a mentor, or you're seeking out a mentor to help you, you know, in whatever life path that you're currently pursuing. And maybe even that's like going somewhere, again, I don't know your situation, but maybe it's taking a pilgrimage somewhere to learn deeply about yourself or healing. Aquarius rising, Saturn and Jupiter are currently transiting your 1st house. So you're being in retrograde, by the way. So you're being asked to reflect on how you show up, because Saturn is a planet of contraction, a planet of removing things, but Jupiter is a planet of expansion, and both of them are in retrograde, which is more of a reflective energy. So you might have felt like this push and pull, right? With Jupiter being there, you're like, I want to go forward, or this is what I want to do. But then Saturn being like, oh no, we have to like think long term. And Aquarius risings are just like so future forward thinking and very innovative and very technologically ahead of other people. But you are traditionally ruled by Saturn, and in modern astrology you're ruled by Uranus. So I think you're really contemplating this, like you're integrating all the lessons that you've learned in the past with the future and how you want to live your life. So I think the new moon in Libra and Mars being there and Mercury retrograde being there is like how you relate to other people and how you can engage with other people to help you learn more about your life. So seeking out a mentor, seeking out a teacher, or even teaching yourself will really help you during this time. So let's see what does your team have to say to you? Whew. And with all these transits, like with these major transits happening in Aquarius since 2020, you're having a different idea of who you are. Like you've definitely had to shift in a lot of ways from how you thought about yourself in the past. You know, Aquarius is your 1st house. And maybe now is the time to learn, get involved in some higher learning, seek a mentor, seek some, maybe even different kind of studies. Okay. The new moon in Libra is also possibly like encouraging you to learn something new. Because these are harmonious transits with your 1st house. So it's going to impact how you feel about yourself. Okay, just give me a moment while the other cards come out. Okay, so first we have the sun, which is ruled by Leo. The sun is like such a happy card. I love to see it. And again, when Saturn moves forward in your first house, maybe you're gonna feel like, oh my God, you know, the wind beneath my wings is coming back. Maybe you felt stagnant for a little while, but this new moon is asking you to really shine, really put yourself out there. The Page of Swords is, I always think of the Page of Swords as social media. At the time of this recording, actually, Mercury retrograde could be so literal. Instagram and Facebook are down. And so, and I don't know your personal relationship with social media, but maybe putting yourself out there more or reaching out to people more on social media. The ninth house is expanding. It's a house of expansion, of going beyond what you previously have learned. And then the Five of Wands. The Five of Wands traditionally talks about conflict in some way or competition, but I like the way that this deck specifically like encaptures the Five of Wands, because if you notice, the matches say fire, and I think this is like lighting a fire under your ass. So again, with Saturn and Jupiter transiting your first house, you might have felt like, you know, a little like, oh, I don't know what to do. Like, I feel like I want to expand, but then I can't, you know, that very like stop, go, stop, go, stop, go kind of energy. But I think once Pluto goes direct, Saturn goes direct this week, you're going to feel like a new sense of vitality. And I think the message here is to keep sharing. New moon in Libra, share with others, collaborate, possibly through social media, and you have the firepower to do it. Thank you, Aquarius rising. Now we have Capricorn rising, and the new moon in Libra with Mars and Mercury retrograde is happening in your 10th house of career and legacy. Now, if you're not career orientated, this could just be the legacy that you want to leave on this planet, or some kind of like meaningful mark that you want to leave onto this earth, whatever that means to you. But if you are career orientated, Mercury retrograde is really impeding my speech here. This isn't like the 6th house. The 6th house is more like work, daily habits, and your day-to-day work. This is the bigger, broader picture of like, why am I here? What am I doing here? And Libra being in this house is all about working with others, maybe having a business partner of some kind. So the new moon in Libra and Mars and Mercury retrograde is like you reflecting back on your career, the things that worked out, the things that didn't. Are you open to working with a partner or collaborating? I think this is a beautiful new moon to like consider that. Consider working with and collaborating with others, because Capricorn risings are also, you are also ruled by Saturn, and Saturn's moving forward on the 10th. So Capricorn risings, you might have felt like, why isn't the things that I'm doing, like, why aren't they working? Why is it so stagnant? But maybe the Saturn going forward is really going to like push all the things that you've been working on forward in your career, because these are Capricorn risings. Out of everybody, I feel like you are the ones who achieve the most success when you have patience and when you understand that your worth is not necessarily like all the work that you do, but the value of your work. And I know that's really frustrating to hear, because I wouldn't want to hear that. But you know, Capricorn rising, you are ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is it's like a very karmic planet. It's also the planet of ruled by Kronos, which is time. So Capricorn risings are, I feel like, the most successful. Any Capricorn placement, but it is going to take a little bit of patience, and I know how that sounds. Exactly. So the Ten of Swords, and I love the way that this card talks about all the tens. It's a card of transformation. You've already gone through the whole suit of swords, and this is about your mental health, basically. The Ten of Swords talks about like anxiety and feeling like I had enough, like fear, right? But this is a transformation of that. Like you're at the end of the cycle. A 10 is the end. So again, Capricorn risings, like the ones that I know, tend to worry, like what is happening? Why isn't it happening? I put all this effort in, I put all this hard work in, and I think the lessons for Capricorn in general is that it's not necessarily like how much work that you do, but it's that you have so much energy that you put it to work versus possibly like the funner things in life. And I think that is the ultimate lesson of a Capricorn, is it's not how much work you do, it's working smarter, not harder. Does that make sense? Because the next card is the Ace of Pentacles, and the aces are always an opportunity. And again, this is a perfect like spread for what I've been saying this whole time, is that the new moon in Libra is happening in your 10th house. So you might be getting offers, you might be getting invitations, and these are solid earthly invitations because it is a pentacle. With the Two of Wands, the Two of Wands is an Aries energy, and again, I really feel like when Saturn moves forward on October 10th, you're going to feel like you're out of this weird like anxiety, fear-based mindset, and you're more into like, okay, I got a plan, I know where I'm going, I know where my career is going, and offers will come to you. Because the Two of Wands talks about having a plan. It talks about having the passion and the vision, and when you can focus on where you want to go and being open-minded, because Aries is very, the Two of Wands is a very like visionary card and energy, that you will get those career opportunities that you have been manifesting. Okay, thank you, Capricorn rising. And now to my fellow Sagittarius risings. This is happening in our 11th house, which arguably is like the luckiest house in astrology. It talks about groups, the collective, community, friends, gains. And so the new moon in Libra, with Mars being there and Mercury retrograde, I didn't say this in the beginning of the collective read, but the sun and Mercury and Mars and the moon being there, it could manifest into conflicts with other people, because Mars wants to assert itself. The sun as well wants to like be right and want to shine, and the moon relates to our emotional body, and Mercury is communication. So we want to be mindful of the input of information and how we communicate with others, and not jump to conclusions. So the new moon in Libra happening in our 11th house could be a beautiful new intention for new friendships, new groups of people, possibly even like how to make more money, because this is the house of gains. This is the house of like receiving money that we've previously like planted seeds for. And these energies are in harmonious aspects to Saturn and Jupiter in our 3rd house of communication. So for Sagittarius risings, the new moon in Libra, and Venus enters Sagittarius, our 1st house, on the day after. So we're going to be very attractive. We're going to be very sought out after. So I feel like a lot of Sagittarius risings, and I can speak for myself because I've been going through this South Node in the 1st house, are going to feel like things are finally moving in our favor. when Jupiter goes forward on October 18th, when the nodes of the moon change, right? Like, oh, what a freaking 2 years. Let me just tell you. Okay. I just want to take out one card because that was too many. Okay, exactly what I've been thinking. So the first card we have is the Three of Pentacles. And the Three of Pentacles talks about teamwork. It talks about getting help from other people. And this is very much the new moon energy in the 11th house. Getting help for like what we're, like our bigger dreams, our bigger vision, which is the 11th house. But I love this Three of Pentacles card because if you see here, this figure is watering, he like buried these 3 skulls, right? I know, like, this could only be cards for the for Dia de los Muertos, which is on October 31st, or as we would say is Halloween. But this figure has planted 3 skulls, and from the 3 skulls, now these flowers are blooming out of them. So I really believe that a lot of the self-work that you've done over the last, I would say 2 years since Sagittarius has been in our first house in the South Node, releasing and purging all of that shit that is just like, we've all literally had to go through some kind of death and rebirth, right? And all of the seeds that we've been planting and not seeing anything growing out of it because it's been a time to release and a time of rebirth, that when Jupiter goes forward, which is our ruler, and you know, things start moving forward and the nodes of the moon start changing to Taurus and Scorpio, we're going to feel like a lot of things are just going to bloom almost as if out of nowhere, but like really we've been planting those seeds from a while ago. With the Hierophant here, the Hierophant is a medium. The Hierophant can connect, is like the connection, the channel from the higher realms to the physical realm. And the Hierophant is also a figure of being a teacher, which I know Sagittarians, we are known as like the teacher, somebody who is very connected to the spiritual realm. We're also ruled by the Temperance card. This is also Taurus energy. But I feel like after this transit of the South Node being in Sagittarius and the North Node being in Gemini, we've learned a lot of lessons, and now it's time to teach and share what we've learned to a bigger collective, because the 11th house is in a trine to the 3rd house, which is all about communication, social media. The 11th and 3rd house are social media houses of, it's also a house of writing, right? Exactly, the Page of Swords. This is social media to me. The Page of Swords is sharing. The Page of Swords is communicating. So I think it's time for the Sagittarius risings to share the knowledge that you've learned over the last, 18 months of this nodal return. A lot of us have transformed. A lot of us are different. And it's like something that we can't, people around us can't necessarily put their like finger on. But I've been told, like, through my friends and my family, that something has changed energetically and also physically because the South Node is transiting our 1st house. So this is an exciting new moon in Libra, and not to be biased, but I feel like this is the best place to have a new moon in Libra, and a Mercury retrograde, to be honest, is the 11th house, because I also feel like a lot of people from the past with the Three of Pentacles are coming back to help. Thank you, Sag risings. Hello, Scorpio rising. So this new moon in Libra with Mars and Mercury in retrograde are happening in your 12th house. The 12th house is a very mysterious house. It's very psychological. It is the house of secrets, of the past, of the hidden realm. So with the new moon in Libra being here, it's interesting because a new moon is like, it's a place. It's a time to set new intentions, right? But the new moon is dark, so you don't necessarily see the seeds that you're planting, but you're planting them with the intention that something is going to grow. And it's interesting because the 12th house is all about like things that you cannot see. So this might be a more psychological new moon for you, like setting the intention of releasing things from your past, or even Mercury being in retrograde in your 12th house is like releasing any old karmic ties or lovers or relationships that just don't serve you. The moon is always illuminating, right? So if this was a full moon in Libra, I would say like you would see things, you would see hidden secrets, you would see things that maybe you hadn't seen before. But with it being a new moon, this is an intention. This is a place where you set new intentions to maybe let go of the things that do not serve you, let go of the relationships and the people that are not here for your highest good, because it's in the sign of Libra. So let's see. And Venus is transiting your first house right now, which is, you know, making you very magnetic at the time. I mean, Scorpios are magnetic to begin with. So let's see. What does this new moon in Libra have for Scorpio risings in the 12th house? And Mars in the 12th house always is an energy of purging, of like letting go of things that in your subconscious. You also might not be sleeping very well. You might be getting weird ass dreams. Whenever I see Mars transiting the 12th house, it's a house where you're having very active dreams, because the 12th house is about dreams. So let me know if that's happening to you. And the dream realm also helps us to discover things that are hidden, that are in our subconscious mind. So you can also set the intention for this new moon in Libra to, like right before you go to sleep, you can ask like, please show me through my dreams, for the highest good of all involved, like what I need to see in the conscious waking life. And then just notice the signs and synchronicities you see when you are awake. Oh my God, I cannot make this shit up. So the first card that came out is the Empress, which is ruled by Venus. And the second card is the Six of Wands, which is about victory. It's about shining. It's about being in this very empowered, Scorpio, I feel like Scorpios are the most magnetic, the most seductive, the most, not overtly like a Leo, right? Not overtly out there. There's just something about a Scorpio moon, a Scorpio rising that's just very magnetic. I don't know what other words to use, right? But some of you might not be able to tap into that energy of being in your Empress and in your Six of Wands self. Like some of you might actually, what I'm getting with these two cards is like being seen more, maybe, because Scorpio energy is more of like an inward energy, right? It goes deep. But some of you might be craving being seen, might be wanting to be more out there, might be wanting to embody more of like the Taurus energy of like being, you know, luxurious and being like in your full embodied self out in the world. And the Nine of Swords actually talks about like having restless nights, having dreams, anxiety. The Nine of Swords talks about not being able to sleep. So I feel like a lot of maybe your subconscious feelings are wanting to be this Empress, like wanting to be more in the material realm, wanting to be more luxe, you know. And being in the Six of Wands is also like being seen, having victory. The Six of Wands is somebody who people look at and is like, oh, like they are like good at what they're doing, good at what their field is. And again, we're going by the rising sign. So this is like the area of your life. You're going to have to look at your sun and your moon to see exactly how you shine, in what area of your life do you shine. But the 12th house, having your new moon and your Mars and Mercury retrograde is maybe like asking you to purge those things that will prevent you from being in this energy, the Empress and the Six of Wands. And I think your dreams are helping you do that. Your dreams are helping you see, like, in your subconscious mind, like, what's holding you back, what's hidden. I love it. You can do it, Scorpio rising. And with Venus in your first house, it's only going to be there for another day after this new moon. It's like you really should capitalize on those last degrees. Okay, Libra risings. First of all, if you are a Libra sun or Libra stellium, I mean, this is all about you. This is happening in your first house of self. So with the sun and the moon, Mars and Mercury retrograde in your first house, you are really, really focusing on self, your concept of yourself, your body, how you show up in this world. So Mars is asking you to take action, to maybe put yourself out there a little more. Also with the sun being there in your first house, the sun always illuminates, the sun always like makes us shine, it makes us glow. Mercury retrograde in your first house. I mean, Libra is a sign of justice. Libra is a sign of balance, of harmony. You are ruled by Venus, so you really love aesthetics. You might be actually very attractive, maybe very beautiful. Mercury retrograde in your first house might also like ask you to put yourself first, because your opposite sign is in Aries in your 7th house. So let's ask what is being, oh, we got cards already. Wow. Okay, that happened really quickly. Okay, the Three of Swords, I swear, has been like following every reading that I've been giving personally to my clients, but also in this particular new moon in Libra, because this is the energy of the new moon. But we'll get to that in a second. You are having an overhaul of your relationships. I'm just going to put it out there. Now, the new moon in Libra is all about like an intention that we're setting in the area of our life where this is happening. So for you specifically, it's the new moon, and having all of this energy activated in your first house is like really making you like the Tower, really making you like let go of everything that you've known about yourself and relationships and how you relate to other people. It's almost like the Tower had to crumble in order for you to truly see that the most important person in relationships is you. Like, you have to focus on yourself. The Tower is ruled by Mars, and Mars is currently transiting your first house. So Mars in Libra, they say, is a detriment, but I believe that detriment just means like it has to access different energies and it's a different speed. It's not good or bad. That's a very patriarchal way of seeing astrology, is like good or bad or doesn't have enough power. Mars in Libra just acts in a different way, and I know this because I have Mars in Libra natally in my chart. And so we have the Knight of Swords here, and the Knight of Swords is a fast-moving knight. It's a fast-moving energy, but communicates something and wants to tell the truth, right? Then we have the Three of Swords, which in the beginning of this collective video I said was in the second decan of Libra. It's about expanding your heart space. So to me, this is all about focusing on yourself and breaking down the self-concepts of yourself that will prevent you from really just taking ownership and power. And even though the Emperor isn't here, because usually I'll feel the energy of cards that aren't here, is to really embody Aries energy, the opposite sign, which is in your 7th house, is to focus on self, is to remember that the most important person in your relationships, in relating, is you. And I think Mercury retrograde in Libra is asking you like how you personally show up to relationships, and maybe how in the past it was like you weren't like you were betraying yourself because you weren't giving yourself the love. You weren't giving yourself the attention and dedication you needed, and you weren't asking for, you weren't asserting yourself in the way that Aries in the 7th house would ask you to be. Because Libra is always like, always considering the other, which is great. That's why Libra is such a, it's the justice, right? Balancing the scales. But in what ways have you betrayed yourself? And maybe a knight, or, you know, this is non-gendered obviously, but like maybe somebody from your past is coming forward to like remind you or to heal the past of a past hurt. This could also mean the Tower, somebody coming back to kind of like rock your world. Take that as it resonates. But I feel like for you, Libra, this is all about yourself, clearly with the 1st house. Okay, now we're at Virgo rising, and this is happening in your 2nd house of self-worth, of value, what you value, money. It's interesting that Libra is in your 2nd house because Libra is ruled by Venus, and Venus talks about what we value and talks about self-worth and money and aesthetics. And Virgo risings, you might have to also take into consideration like the relationships that you value, your value in your relationships, and really like self-love. That's like the feeling that I'm getting from this Mars in Libra, Mercury retrograde in Libra in your 2nd house, and also the new moon, like setting new intentions for self-love. And Virgo, you know, you're ruled by Mercury, and Mercury's in retrograde, and Virgos tend to be of service. They tend to be selfless. So how can you be more discerning about who you let into your life, and if what you value is in alignment with how people are showing up for you? In the beginning, I mentioned the 5 love languages, which is, I feel like everybody should read that book, and everybody should read that book when it comes to relationships, because not everybody communicates and shows their love in the same way. And I feel like for you, Virgo risings, it's important that you communicate what you need in a relationship and how you show and receive love. So let's see what this new moon in Libra has for you. Yes, exactly. Okay. So you've got all pentacles, which is interesting because Virgo is an earth sign. This is exactly what I was talking about. Like an offer from spirit, which is a pentacle. Something that's solid, something that's monetary, but something that's of value. And I only say this because Mercury is in retrograde in Libra in your 2nd house, but I feel like somebody's coming in, the Page of Pentacles, with an offer that you've been waiting for quite some time. The 7 of Pentacles. The 7 of Pentacles is like you've already planted all the seeds, you've watered your seeds, and now you're just waiting for the seeds to fruit. And so you might have actually been, because Pisces is in your 7th house, right? So when Jupiter goes back into Pisces in your 7th house, you might get a lot of opportunities through, you know, business opportunities, possibly a love interest. So I feel like this right now where, you know, where things feel like a little stagnant, like I'm putting all this effort in, I'm putting all this, you know, physical effort doing the work, and I feel stuck, like nothing's moving. I feel like this new moon in Libra in your 2nd house is like setting the intention that everything that you've like done, all the work, again, Virgo rising, Virgo is a sign of being of service. So Mercury retrograde can have somebody from the past, somebody new, I don't really feel new energy here because Mercury retrograde is usually people from our past. But this is something that you've like maybe talked to people about, you communicated with people before Mercury retrograde, and now they're coming back to offer you something that you've been waiting on. So as long as you do your self-worth work, what you value, and aligning your morals with these opportunities, I think that this new moon in Libra is a really amazing opportunity for you to get the bag. All the pentacles showed up for you. Okay, Leo rising. This new moon in Libra is happening in your 3rd house of the mind, of communication, of your siblings. It also rules the hands. It's a Gemini ruled house, so 3rd house with Mercury in Libra are people from your past communicating through you through social media. You might also feel with Mars being here that you need to like talk, you need to like assert yourself, you need to communicate. This could also be just an intention that you set that maybe you're going to be more active on social media, or you're going to reactivate some dating apps or apps in general. Like the 3rd house to me is, the 3rd and 11th house to me are about like our outward community and social media. The 3rd house is also learning. It's short distance traveling. So I mean, Leo risings, you shine, you are ruled by the sun. So honestly, like whatever intentions that you set, I feel like you got the energy to do it. But yeah, the first thing I thought of was like ex-lovers, people sliding into your DMs. What you do with that is up to you. That's all I gotta say. But interesting too, because your 7th house, your descendant is in Aquarius, and right now Saturn and Jupiter are transiting that area. So maybe a lot of you have been yeah, like past life people as well with this transit. I don't know where that came from, but that's just what I just channeled. So a new intention for communication, for learning possibly. It's different than the 9th house learning. 9th house learning is more like higher learning. This is like if you want to like learn how to drive again, because the 3rd house is about driving. Mercury rules cars. Yeah, let's see what else for our Leo rising. Okay, so interesting. Oh my gosh. Okay, Eight of Swords, 7 of Swords, 9 of Swords. Remember, the 3rd house is about the mind and how we perceive, right? So I feel like this new moon in Libra is asking you to change your perception, change your mind, see things in a different way. The 8 of Swords is limiting beliefs, limiting perceptions of our own doing. It's like we can't see straight, we can't, and we like complain about it too. We're like, this is like holding me back, but it's really not. It's not the environment, it's ourselves. The 7 of Wands talks about deception, illusion, secrets. And honestly, like whenever I read cards for people, I'm gonna tell you the truth, but I'm always going to give it in a constructive way, because I don't believe in like good or bad. I just believe like we are meant to learn things at certain times to help us reveal the truth. And this new moon in Libra is all about the truth. It's all about the mind and our perceptions, because Libra is an air sign. Then we have the Nine of Swords, which again is the energy of anxiety. It's not being able to sleep, being definitely somehow preoccupied with the mind. Again, like this could honestly be in terms of your relationships, people coming back from the past, love entanglements, needing to assert yourself in some ways. And ultimately though, because I had to look at the bottom of the deck energy, which is the Four of Wands, and the Four of Wands is all about commitment, it's about marriage, it's about happiness. So in order for you to get to here, which is like everyone's dream, right? Everyone wants a partnership that is in alignment with their highest good, happiness. But in order for you to do that, you really need to like take a look at the quality of your thoughts and how you perceive your mind, what your mind is telling you, what your mind is showing you, and actually ask yourself, like, are these fears real? Are you all afraid of commitment? I just had to put that out there. Just had, you know, Leo rising, don't come at me. But these are all cards of like fear, of limiting beliefs. So I think like what you're being asked in this new moon in Libra is to set intentions to release these like negative self-perceptions, negative mindsets, or limiting beliefs around relationships. This could also be a relationship coming in that's like through friendship groups, because the third house is about like community. It could be coming out of maybe a relationship with your siblings, because the third house is about siblings. But ultimately you are going to get there. The Four of Wands was at the back of the deck, which is happiness. So it's all about like the quality of your thoughts, of your mind, and remembering that some of the fears are not real. Okay, now we're going to Cancer rising, and Libra is in your fourth house of family, of roots, of ancestry, of feeling rooted and grounded and safe and secure, like very, very cozy. So this new moon in Libra, you might be setting intentions to start your own family, to connect to your ancestry, to possibly buy a new home with the other, right? Libra is about relationships. Maybe you are starting to explore some of your relationships with your family or your ancestry. Mercury in retrograde happening in your fourth house. Maybe you are like, you know, doing some healing work with your family members, your mother. What else? Okay. I don't know if you can hear that, but my neighbor's car's radio is really loud. Okay. So I really believe during this new moon in Libra, you're being asked to release any kind of attachments or negative attachments to your family. That's what's coming through. We have the Seven of Cups, which talks about, in the light aspects, a lot of options, having options, and no option is right or wrong. But it also talks about illusion. It talks about like not knowing like which way to go. With the devil is Capricorn energy. It's also you know, the devil has its strings with these two puppets. Attachment came up in my mind as I was looking at this card. You know, Libra, Mercury retrograde in Libra has been very activating for a lot of people, because it's reflecting on our relationships. And since this is happening in your fourth house of family and ancestry, maybe you are coming to terms with some emotional like attachments to family, needing to heal some ancestral roots, needing to heal some shadows, some not so light things about your family, maybe your ancestry as well. The Queen of Cups coming up here is like healing. I get this very like healing energy coming out of this. Healing the past. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, which is the past. It's about like also like the grandfather father archetype, healing the things that maybe our ancestors could not do, and now, you know, in this lifetime you and your lineage are healing, to heal things that have been done in the past. Something that I like to, a prayer that I like to do is this very ancient Polynesian prayer called Ho'oponopono. And if you Google that, you can see and you can hear the prayer. But it's all about forgiveness, and forgiveness about past wrongs. And a lot of the times, we don't even realize like the harm that we place onto others. And we are all going to cause harm in some way, but how we heal from that is acknowledging, asking for forgiveness, and moving on, knowing that we won't repeat the patterns. So I find the Queen of Cups to be so healing. This is your energy, Cancer rising. And releasing old attachments from, yeah, I was also channeling like this mother energy, like maybe healing your relationships to your mother. This is all about relationships. So in whatever relationship that this relates to, this new moon in Libra is asking you to set intentions of healing and to starting possibly a new chapter. So thank you, Cancer rising. Gemini rising, this is happening in your 5th house of children, entertainment, creativity. The new moon in Libra is asking you to the 5th house is also romance. It's not necessarily like, it's not indicative of long-term partnerships as the 7th house is, but it is romance. And if you have Libra as your 5th house, you might, during this time in Mercury retrograde, have a lot of your old flames coming back. Now, again, it doesn't have to be old relationships, but just flames that you've had. And really asking you, like, so Gemini, the North Node is in Gemini in your 1st house. So you've obviously had to take a different look at yourself. You've had to be more curious about yourself. You've had to ask yourself a lot of questions about yourself and how you show up in this world. So with Libra, with the new moon in Libra, Mars in Libra in your 5th house, how you show up in general with your relationships. But these are more romantic in nature. They're not necessarily like the long-term partnerships as indicated by Sagittarius in your 7th house. But Sagittarius with the South Node in your 7th house is like maybe a lot of karmic soulmate type energy has been coming back for you to release. So this is also the house of children, maybe playing with your inner child, remembering your inner child, healing your inner child, and how your inner child is here to help you. And tapping into that energy will help you, because the 5th house is the happiest house of the zodiac. It's the house of play and creativity. Are you using your creative faculties to create the life that you want? Being grounded is going to help you, because Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is a very fast-moving planet. Oh, wow. See, a lot of information coming out here. I think that a lot of the things that are being showing up for you during Mercury retrograde is really going to help you heal, especially your inner child. Can I have one more card? Because Gemini risings are also very like they're the social butterfly. Geminis are the social butterflies of the zodiac. So I think these last 18 months of the North Node being in your first house is actually asking you to focus more on yourself. Yeah. You have to be more grounded, Queen of Pentacles. You have to be more in your body. You have to be more embodied. The Queen of Pentacles is self-reliant, self-assured, self-embodied, self-empowered. The Queen of Pentacles has her bag. With the Four of Swords talks about retreating, relaxing, resting, allowing your mind to rest, doing some kind of meditative process. Again, Gemini rising, you are ruled by Mercury, so your mind can be like analysis paralysis all over the place. The Three of Wands. The Three of Wands is an expansive energy. The Three of Wands talks about like possibly traveling, expanding. The Fire, the Wands is, you know, a visionary, somebody who has all of their creative powers. This is truly asking you to hold your vision, be embodied in your vision in the physical reality though, and actually take action upon those things. The fifth house is the creative house. It's how we create, like co-creating our reality in the real, like in reality with the Queen of Pentacles. The fifth house is a Leo house, so it's all about shining. It's showing the world what we're made of. But in order to do that, you need to rest your mind, retreat a little bit. And I know that's hard for Gemini risings to do sometimes, but you have all this energy stored up. And when you combine the Queen of Pentacles, the Four of Swords to the Three of Wands, you can literally create your reality. And when Mercury goes forward in this house, it'll help you to really put into action all the plans that you've been creating in your mind, because right now it's more of a reflective energy. It's more like looking back at your past and all the relationships and how you've shown up and all of maybe your romantic endeavors and how they have served you and how they have not, and how to move forward from that. Okay, thank you, Gemini risings. And we have Taurus rising. This is happening in your sixth house of health, of your daily activities, rituals, coworkers. Now, when the nodes of the moon change to the North Node being in Taurus, this is going to be in your first house. And that's super exciting for you because you're going to get like an incredible shift of yourself and how you show up in this world, and also your self-concepts of yourself. So Taurus, you're gonna have a whole life shakeup probably in the next 2 years, and mostly 2022, but you're gonna get a hint of it in this eclipse on November 19th. This is happening in your first house, but this isn't about that. This is about your sixth house. And the sixth house is a traditional Virgo house. It's about your health and your vitality and how your rituals and day-to-day actions contribute to your life. So this being in, you know, the energy of Libra, it's the quality of your relationships, and how the relationships possibly, maybe you're going to be setting intentions to improve your health, or like a new workout routine, a meditation technique. And the people that show up in your life will help you reflect those energies. Like maybe you need to take a step back from certain people. Maybe that negative coworker you need to take a break from and tell them like, hey, I need to like take a little pause here. And Mars being in this house is really going to help you do that. It's going to help you activate that more yang energy. What do we have to say to Taurus on this new moon in Libra? new moon in Libra for Taurus? Focus on. Okay. It's interesting how all of these relationship topics are coming up in different aspects of people's lives. And for you, it is coming out in the area of your, like, also the 6th house is like how to be of service, right? Because it is a Virgo house. So, okay. In the past, have you allowed relationships to affect your, like, health? Have you allowed relationships to sabotage your health? So we have the 2 of Pentacles here. And normally the 2 of Pentacles talks about like balancing and juggling, but this has 2 people here looking at each other. And 2 is the number of duality. So, like, are you juggling your love life, your relationships with your work? Are you juggling your health and your work-life balance, your health and life balance? The 5 of Swords is, this is Venus in Aquarius energy. It's being afraid of moving forward with a certain, like, love interest because of things that you've experienced in the past. And the 5 of Swords is just like anxiety and fear of the future, but only because of the past. So again, like, these 2 cards together, it's like maybe you feel like you can't be in a relationship, or you can't allow yourself to open up to relationships because of the past, of like things that have happened to you in the past, or you have a limiting belief that you can't have love and life, you can't have a healthy body, your work, and a relationship all at once. And I've heard this quote that you can't have everything at the same time. And I don't necessarily believe that's true. I believe you can have everything at the same time, but with the 2 of Pentacles, it's like, it's juggling, right? It's balancing constantly. Like something, like your work life might not get all of the attention that you've maybe previously put into it, because you want to reallocate some of that energy to your love life. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I just think that you have different priorities. And then we have the 6 of Cups, which is, again, reflecting to the past. The 6 of Cups also could talk about like something from your past coming back as reflected by Mercury retrograde in Libra. This could also mean like the 6 of Cups with the 5 of Wands or the 5 of Swords. It's like the past coming back to haunt you. Venus in Aquarius. I feel like what this new moon in Libra is asking you to do is really not wipe away the past, but seeing the past with a different lens. Seeing the past is like, it happened to teach me something. But this new moon in Libra is like an intention to set, like, if I want my health, my love, my work, all of that to be in balance, I can. I just have to redistribute my energy. And I have to ask myself, what lessons from the past, my past relationships that I learned that can help me in the future? Because I feel like this 2 of Pentacles is like this opportunity for you to grow in a different way, to expand in a different way that the past has taught you. So I hope that helps, Taurus risings. And you have Uranus transiting your 1st house, which is like all of these like epiphanies about yourself, like one after the other, right? And so I really feel like for you specifically, you're a fixed sign, and you're probably the most fixed signs because you are Earth sign as well, that you're really being shooken up with Uranus transiting your 1st house, and then the nodes changing to your 1st house. It's like the more you can release self-limiting beliefs, the more you will be able to have all the things that you want. Last but not least, Aries rising with Libra in your 7th house of relationships, of partnerships, of the other. And this new moon is happening in your partnership house of the Libra house. So Aries risings, You are maybe setting intentions for a partnership, of reflecting on your relationships, of really starting something new in the realm of partnerships. And this could be business partnerships, it's any one-on-one relationships, because Aries is the sign of I am, the self. And in order for you to balance that energy, you have to look at Libra, which is the other. So let's ask, what is happening with this new moon in Libra? Okay, you have to let go of any of your past things, mostly people, because we're talking about Libra here. You're being asked to let go of energies that don't serve you. Let's just put it that way. Okay. The Eight of Cups talks about letting go. It talks about letting go of like what we previously were attached to emotionally to find a more emotionally fulfilling thing, because the next card is the Nine of Cups, which is wishes fulfilled. So you are being asked to let go of something. The Chariot, which is the Cancer energy in the major arcana. The Chariot is moving forward, a forward movement. The Queen of Wands is your energy. The Queen of Wands is the feminine fire element of Sagittarius, Aries, and Leo. I think you're being asked to let go and move forward towards what really gives you some passion here. The Queen of Wands is like a bad bitch. And you don't have to be a woman to identify with the Queen of Wands. This is just the feminine archetype of the fire signs. The Queen of Wands is my favorite in the suits because, again, I'm an Aries sun with a Sag risings. This is a bad bitch. This is somebody who knows thyself, knows what they want, knows the vision for their life. And so for some, I'm getting for some Aries risings that you might have to actually release a lot of relationships that are not allowing you to shine in your fire, in your feminine fire. Or you are being asked to release so that you can move towards another fire energy. But either way, I always see you know, with relationships, it's always about us first. It's as within, so without. Relationships are reflections of ourselves. Relationships always reflect back to us either the parts of ourselves that we need to heal or our energy, right? We manifest who we are, not what we want. So for a lot of Aries risings, this Libra, Mercury in retrograde in Libra is asking you to really reflect on the quality of your relationships, the kind of energies you want to surround yourself with, and Mars being here, which is your ruler, is helping you with this. I just feel this energy of like yeeting out people that just do not match your energy, like leaving a lot of that behind. And this Mercury retrograde in Libra is going to be very painful for a lot of people because a lot of people are going to realize those types of energies that don't serve them and that they don't want to take forward with them. There's going to be a lot of Three of Swords moments where people are going to be heartbroken and maybe left in the dust. But I ultimately believe, and maybe this is my Aquarian moon coming out where it's like devoid of emotion, is like we are all doing our best and we are all moving towards evolution of being around people, things, and situations that are for our highest good. And not everybody is always for our highest good, even though I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt, but we are all doing the best that we can. And sometimes people are just not there for our highest good for whatever reason, right? And so I think for you, Aries rising, set new intentions to help you release those energies that don't serve you. Eight of Cups is Pisces energy. It's like leaving things behind for a higher purpose, for your highest destiny. So if you've made it all the way towards Aries rising, I just want to send you all so much love, so many blessings. This new moon in Libra is obviously intense, and with Saturn and Pluto moving forward, this is very transformative karmic energies that are in play here. So I'm just very curious to hear what has transpired for you and what intentions you've set. But always, I send you nothing but love, health, wealth, and abundance.